From the Detroit Free Press, I'm Robin Chan with today's Voice Briefing. It's Tuesday, February 25th, 2025.
This is Lily Altavino with the Detroit Free Press. Michigan's children are not okay. A recent slew of tragedy has advocates and experts wondering how state and local social safety nets could let children fall through the cracks, ending up abused, neglected, or unhoused in so many instances. In Pontiac, police say a school district failed to verify that children showed up at a different school after they transferred out. 4 years later, they've been found allegedly abandoned by their mother in a squalid home in Pontiac. In Detroit, a 9-year-old reportedly was murdered by his mother, who later fled to Georgia. And in Detroit in February, 2 children died after spending a frigid Michigan winter night in their family van with no warm place to go. Experts worry that more children are likely struggling. The data suggests that the number of unhoused children is rising, so are the number of children unaccounted for in the public school system. To learn more, head to freep.com.
This is Liam Rapley for the Detroit Free Press. This story began 9 months ago. Michigan State Police troopers in the 7th District, which covers much of northern Michigan, were given an antique safe by a civilian who said they found it in the middle of the road. And since last May, state police have been looking for the owner. On Friday, they posted a photo of the safe to X as a sort of Hail Mary. Ashley Miller, a lieutenant at the State Police's 7th District, said a civilian found the safe near the intersection of the North Straits Highway and Wing Road and turned it over to their office in 2024. The safe was locked when it was found, but they've opened it up at the police department. There was no identifying information in it, Miller said, and they're not releasing information about the contents with the hopes that the rightful owner can prove it was theirs. We would hope a post would find the right owner, Miller told me. Maybe the owner would say, "Oh my gosh, that's my safe." For more, visit freep.com.
Hey everybody, this is Evan Petzold, the Detroit Tigers beat writer for the Detroit Free Press. On this week's episode of our podcast, Days of Roar, we talked to Detroit Tigers radio analyst Bobby Scales. Here's a quick snippet of our conversation. We need to talk about the offseason for the Tigers, adding Jack Flaherty, Alex Cobb, Gleyber Torres, Tommy Kahnle, and John Brebbia, all from free agency. What are your thoughts on the offseason for the Tigers?
Well, I think they did a nice job to address some needs they had. We had talked extensively in the latter part of the season and then throughout the offseason about acquiring a right-handed bat. Now, obviously, there was a target that was one of the prime targets to be one of those right-handed bats. It didn't reveal itself. But this team was very left-handed. The first projected starting lineup was very left-handed. And getting someone who could be an everyday player and hit from the right side and be a proven bat, not just a guy we're hoping to take a step forward or a guy we're hoping for a bounce back from, was important. So they were aggressive in getting Gleyber Torres. And then from the pitching side, our bullpen was tremendous. The thing that scares me about our bullpen is just the workload over the last couple of years. They've been very, very good. And I know these guys are in tremendous condition. AJ and Chris Fetter and the rest of the Tiger Pitching Brain Trust have done a tremendous job at, one, keeping these guys healthy, and then two, making sure that they are doing enough to get them enough rest between appearances. That said, innings are starting to pile up, and you had to reinforce the bullpen. And you can do that in two ways. You can reinforce the bullpen by going and getting more bullpen pieces, more experienced bullpen pieces to add, which can push some of that depth down. And then you can also do it by enhancing the starting pitching. And that's what they've done on all fronts. So, you can look at not landing Bregman for whatever the reasons may be is a negative point. But for the most part, they addressed some of their needs and they did a nice job of doing so.
You can hear that full conversation in this week's episode of Days of Roar, which is available wherever you listen to podcasts. And as always, you can find our latest coverage on freep.com/sports.
Find more from the Detroit Free Press on freep.com. That's FREEP.com. Thank you for listening, and you'll hear more from us tomorrow.